Welcome to the Hellmouth. I hope everybody's doing 5x5. This is Major Slayage. Ket and Arik rewatch Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I gotta say, of all the things that I appreciate, I always love your songwriting, but I really specifically appreciate that you wrote that headbangy part into the song. It really gets me into the episode.
Yeah, I wanted it to kind of feel like that breakdown, that staccato breakdown of the Buffy theme. Like I didn't want it to be a ripoff or a sound-alike, but I wanted it to kind of hint at that. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
And you've observed me watch this show thousands of times, and every single solitary time that the theme song comes on, I do the exact same headbang dance move to it.
Yes,
every single time.
We'll have to release footage of you headbanging to our theme before we fade in.
Yeah, it's every time. But yes. So thank you for writing a song for me.
Oh, right on. So I'm Arik, and to my right, your left, is my wonderful, talented, enchanting, gorgeous, hilarious wife. You know her as half of the powerhouse duo that is Kim and Ket Stay Alive. Maybe my co-host, Ketryn Porter.
Why, thank you. And this is my co-host, my brilliant, absolutely, utterly handsome, the only reason that you ever hear me in your earballs or see me with your eyeballs is because he's my technological sweetheart, who irritates the living crap out of me. But I love him so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Well, it's actually, it's funny. This leads into the segment. So there's this thing that Paul and June do on How Did This Get Made, where they act like they haven't seen each other in a while, even though like they clearly drove together to the recording, where they always are like, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Paul. How are you?
I always found that silly. So instead of doing that, Ketryn proposed, I think in the first episode, that we have a chance to air marital grievances.
Shockingly, for the first time in our 16 years of being together, I don't have any grievances with you.
Well, it's not so much a grievance, but it is something I became aware of about our relationship. So a lot of couples, or a lot of just people who live together, they have these like pissing contests, or these like, they play chicken around things like taking out the garbage. You're going to let the recycling pile up, and who's going to be the one to finally pull the trigger? Or like, you don't want to be the one to finish the milk because then you drank the last. So you leave a little bit in there so that the next person is the one who drank the last of the milk. We don't have a pepper shaker. We have this mortar and pestle on our counter, and we have a big jar of peppercorns. And if you want pepper, you have to like grind them to get these like fresh peppercorns to sprinkle on your food.
And why do we do that?
Because you're an old-fashioned weirdo.
No, because it definitively tastes better.
Well, it definitely tastes better. No, that's true as well. And don't get me wrong, I think it's cool. Like I feel like a medieval blacksmith when I'm in there, like doing the thing. But I was making my lunch today, and I realized like, oh, there's no fucking pepper. And I was so annoyed that whoever used the pepper last didn't leave any in there for me. Because I always play this game where I'm like, how little pepper can I get away with on my food so that there's still some in there, so I don't have to be the one to grind it new and do the next batch. And so I wonder if anyone else has something like that they do in their marriage that isn't the typical like toilet seat up, toilet seat down stuff. Or
quick question. I must have misunderstood. I was under the impression this was grievances about me, but when did you last use pepper?
I mean, I don't have an
estimation. Was it yesterday?
I don't have a journal.
Was it yesterday? Was it the day before?
I feel like I use pepper pretty frequently.
So it's been a full 2 weeks since I have personally used the pepper. So Arik has just aired a grievance against himself.
Withdrawn.
So how does it feel to have grievances against you? It's really irritating. There's a lot of them.
I'm a complicated man.
You are. Agreed.
All right. So we're here doing episode 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Witch. We did our watch along where we watch the movie and react to it in real time. And as I've said before, I'm much more likely to rewatch seasons 5, 6, and 7. So these first few seasons, I don't know nearly as well. It had been years since I watched this. And so I was genuinely surprised by the twists. I didn't know what was coming. Overall, I found this a great episode. I really had a good time. Looking forward to getting into it with you.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it more than I remembered enjoying this episode. And I think part of it is because we're watching it knowing like how good it gets, how much the show evolves.
Right.
So I think I just assume that anything in like certainly the first half of season 1 is going to be some of the weakest stuff.
Right. I think I had the whole thing tagged as like, oh, these are kind of wonky, but there's some charm to it, but it gets better. But no, this was genuinely an entertaining episode.
I agree. All right, let's get into it.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yes.
We forgot the magic spell.
Oh, right. Let's do it. Okay.
Ketryn, for those of you just joining us, is an actual witch, and she's prepared a little magic for us to kick off our episode. So we're going to...
So in honor of this episode, I decided to do a little spell about having the courage to live your authentic self.
Something Amy in this episode could have used some help with.
And her mom.
And frankly, Buffy a little bit.
Right? Agreed. So I have a little sachet that looks like a giant joint of...
We're going to smoke a giant spliff.
Yeah. Of thyme and nettle, which are both representative of courage. So.
And both grown in our own backyard.
Yeah. All right. Where's my little... Here we go. Fire.
Now that's the dirty little secret of this is Ketryn was like, yeah, we should do a spell every episode. She's just a pyromaniac who wants live fire on the show. This is just an excuse to make a fire every week.
Yeah.
So
light it up. It's great. Okay. Are we ready to dive in?
Now let's do it. Yes.
Okay. So we start with Giles absolutely apoplectic about some terrible, awful, no good, very bad decision that Buffy is about to make.
Yes.
It is egregious. It is awful. She wishes to be a cheerleader.
Right. I kind of feel like this was my first realization that I think it's a good thing you're not a vampire slayer.
Oh my gosh, do tell.
Because I feel like Giles' stern reproachment
for sure
would not have the desired effect on you.
I'm going to push back on that.
Because I think you would swoon if he got a little strict with you.
Currently, correct. When I was 15, no.
No?
Yeah. But if he's talking to like a 22-year-old slayer, look out. But 15, Buffy's still 15 here.
Right,
she still would have been like, dad vibes.
Right.
She hadn't moved into daddy vibes. So I think we'd be okay at this point.
Buffy's really cute in this scene. She's very perky. She's very peppy.
Yeah.
She just like, and I think that this scene really sets up one of the main themes of the show, which is like this balance between her responsibilities as a slayer versus her desire to just be a human teenage girl who has interests and has hobbies and gets to do fun things.
And wants to do something like safe, which I thought was such a good point to make. Like, I think we take for granted, like, oh, she's the slayer. So like, it's no big shakes for her to be out there stalking killers every night. But it's like, no, but also they're killers. And she's the umpteenth billionth slayer.
None of
because
them have
the rest of them have died. Right. Yeah. So she's like, cheerleading seems just, can I just be safe?
Well, weirdly though, and I think, we're about to get into this, the cheerleading in this episode turns out to be horrifically violent and dangerous.
Correct.
And so many people get maimed and disfigured throughout the course of their cheerleading exploits. So,
right.
Joke's on you, Buffy.
I also liked this moment where like Giles is being like stern dad and Buffy is being sweet. She's not being threatening, but she definitely is like, how you going to stop me, bro?
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. And we know that that watchers are not necessarily formidable foes against their very slayers.
Not where fisticuffs is involved. No.
And
it's weird because he is an advisor and a mentor of sorts, but he's not like technically her boss or superior. It's this kind of weird nebulous authority thing. It's kind of like a flight attendant who is half server, like half waitress and half air police. Like they have some authority, but they also like, they don't outrank you in the hierarchy for most of the time. So I feel like that's kind of where the Watcher lives for me.
I feel like, oh boy, you just opened a can of worms here.
Okay.
Because I actually disagree. I think I think that the Watchers Council, the ancient Watchers Council, there is a reason why all the Watchers are men and all of the Slayers are women, and that all of the Slayers could easily overpower all of their Watchers, but they have set themselves into this like place of authority where it's like, I am the authority figure in this. And that is due to the patriarchy.
Yes, but they fancy themselves the authority. But I think as Buffy demonstrates right here, what could you do to stop me? If we disagree about something, I'm going to do me. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it.
And I think that's why the Watchers are sitting in Oxford right now going, whoa. Woo. All right. So let's cut to Spirit Halloween, where there is a witch's cauldron filled with, I thought it looked like Sherwin-Williams paint. You were reminded of...
I thought it looked like Nickelodeon slime, like they're getting ready to carry somebody at an award show with that stuff.
I didn't feel it was chartreuse enough.
Well, I'm not sure what that word means.
Chartreuse?
And I won't respond. But this didn't remind me so much of a Spirit Halloween. It reminded me of living in my own house because there's just herbs and flowers hanging upside down to dry. And that is, I'm constantly like dodging herbs and flowers moving through my house because somebody is going to dry them out to use them for fire.
Teas that I make you.
Tea? No, I'm not saying they don't serve a purpose. I'm just saying they're all over the fucking place.
Potions. Okay, so along with the Nickelodeon slime cauldron, a witch, we can only presume, we're not seeing her face.
The episode is called The Witch, so if we
can assume we see a cauldron, it's called The Witch. We can go ahead and assume it's a witch.
Toil and trouble happening.
Yeah, and she, this particular witch is using Barbies as what appears to be like voodoo doll situations happening.
She snatches a doll out off of hanging on a hook.
Yeah.
Dressed up as a cheerleader.
You suffered from a lot of confusion about Barbies, and I just want to know if you need to touch on that at all.
I'm of two minds about it. One is I don't think we should just do the live watch again on this show because then people don't have an incentive to go watch the live watch. But I definitely was like, where do you get Barbies that look like girls in your life and clothes to match your school cheerleading outfits? I was like, your school doesn't have like a gift shop where you can go buy. Yeah, I need a Cordelia dressed as a cheerleader doll.
You just get a brown-haired Barbie, and if they don't have the right outfits, you sew them. Okay. You make them.
Well, this may come as a shock. I didn't spend a lot of time with Barbies growing up.
But you know how clothing works. And cloth.
Let's move past it.
Right. Okay, so we're back at school, and it's cheerleading tryouts. Xander is inexplicably there to, I can only assume, observe the cheerleading.
He's there to creep on girls in their athleisure wear, doing splits and stretches. And Xander, strangely, though, is only the second worst man in this scene.
Oh. Who's the first?
The cameraman.
Oh.
We start this sequence with a girl doing like a lunge split directly on top of a camera.
Onto the lens of the camera.
It is gynecologically like invasive.
Yeah.
It's one of these egregious things that like it draws so much attention to itself that all I can think about is they had to plan this. They had to tell this girl, this is your mark. Right. And then you're going to drop your cooch right onto the camera. And it's just like,
and it's like she's an extra, like, so she's not going to be like, no thanks.
We see her face,
right? But I'm saying she has no agency as someone who's like been an extra. Like, you have no agency to be like, no thanks.
There was no intimacy coordinator on this.
Yeah,
show. And it just, and these are high school. I mean, the actresses are probably in their 20s, but
37.
The characters are high school girls, and we're just dropping. She just did a clam slam right on top of the camera. Slam.
I love your terminology. Speaking of which, I've been really in the mood for oysters lately. If you want to take me out for oysters.
I was like, my terminology makes you crave oyster. Clams. Got it. All right.
You're with me now.
And that's only the first of two, what I think are just egregious male gaze, just exploitative pieces of camera work.
When the next one comes
I will.
Okay, good. So Xander is gawking at specifically this chick, Amber, who is, clearly a professional dancer, showing everybody up, including Cordelia, who is none too pleased about it.
Who does she think she is? A Laker girl? And I found it so interesting. Now, granted, we've only spent 2 episodes with Cordelia up to this point, but she's not the queen bee here. We have to remember she's a sophomore.
Which I always forget.
She still has to audition for the cheer squad. She's not in charge of anything. She's not the top of the pyramid here. And so to see
no
her,
pun intended,
like really, no, that's why I did it.
Oh,
pun very much intended.
Pun intended.
but to see Cordelia kind of like craving something, wanting something, not being 100% in control was added an interesting dimension to her, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, she still comes in with all of the boss bitch energy that we adore from her. Don't get it twisted.
Yes. And I think you made this point too during our watch along, which was Cordelia's there in a very revealing outfit. She's got a black sports bra emblazoned with stars. She's wearing little hot pants with stars. She looks fucking phenomenal. And you made the point, the difference between having a girl just squat on the camera and then having Cordelia in a revealing outfit. One is it's germane to her character. It's with something she would wear. It's also like in a way letting her kind of show off the work she's put into her body.
This.
Yeah. So she's going to
aspire to me,
put herself on display versus this other poor girl that I just felt like she just said, oh, I booked a thing on this TV show. What do you do? Well, I'm basically just getting a pap smear
by a camera. That's
on network television. So,
but that's not the cringiest thing that happens.
No, it's Xander brings the cringe for sure. And don't get me wrong, I like a pretty girl as much as the next guy. I just think there's a way to do it that doesn't make you feel gross watching it.
Yeah.
All right.
Xander should feel super gross, but he doesn't. The theme of the show so far is gentlemen giving Buffy unwanted, ugly jewelry.
The ugliest jewelry. He gives her a bracelet
that looks like, what did you call it? An ID?
It looks like one of those medical alert bracelets, like you give your grandma.
Yeah.
Like, if I pass out, I need these meds and call these people, and it's all like written on. That's what it's just.
But
big,
it says
hunky.
Yours always. Dude, you also, it's like day 3 of school. She's new.
Well, I think a little bit of time has passed, like, because Buffy says there hasn't been vampires for a couple weeks, so
not enough for a
couple weeks.
Yours always bracelet.
I barely know you.
Yeah,
I'm virtually a stranger.
So poor Buffy has to endure that.
But being a sport, she puts it on.
She puts it on. Bless her.
And so Amber,
I'd be like, oh, sorry, it doesn't go with my wrist today.
Amber, the Laker girl, gets up to audition first.
Yeah. Well, first we meet Amy.
Oh, so yes, Amy, that's true. Before that,
Amy comes up, and this is clearly like a character that Willow and Xander know. And the first thing they comment on is how she's lost a bunch of weight, and Amy has the saddest and most late 90s response to this, which is had to. And it now she says that her mom is like making her lose weight and like training her a bajillion hours a day. But like, that is how it felt in the late 90s. Like, nobody was losing weight because they like wanted to.
Right.
You were losing weight because you felt like you had to.
There was an expectation.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're going to watch Amber dance. And I mean, honestly, these other bitches better come correct, because Amber is...
She's doing that thing where you stand on the one leg and then you hold the other leg over your head like this. So you're just like...
I'm not familiar. Can you show me?
I cannot do this. Neither can any of the other girls in Sunnydale, apparently.
No.
So
mark our words. By the episode 22 of season 7, Eric's going to be able to do Amber's dance move.
I'm not co-signing that. I feel like we're off center a little bit. Can we scoot our chairs?
Sure.
Just a little bit. I feel like maybe the camera got moved right before we started.
Do you want me to move over a little bit more?
Just a little bit more. Can you still see your computer?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So she's dancing, and then this girl is on fire, says Alicia Keys.
Yes.
And Cordelia has the shady queen she is. She fully turns her back on Amber. So like everybody is watching Amber dance except for Cordelia, who's like, no, thank you. So she does not see that Amber is quite literally on fire.
Right.
And accuses everyone of using too much hyperbole.
Right.
I love that they give Cordelia a vocabulary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because she's not stupid. She's shallow. She's casually cruel.
Right. But she's not dumb.
She's superficial, but she's not dumb.
Yeah, which I love. So this girl is on fire, and her arm, she's doing jazz hands to put out her arms.
Yeah, her arms burst into flames.
I'm just trying to think like what I would do. Like if my hands were on fire, I feel like what I would do is like try to shake them off or like put them off on myself. Like I would definitely not be like literally fanning the flame.
Yeah, there are 3 words that are very important in this situation: stop, drop, and roll. She does none of these things. Instead, she turns into one of those inflatable guys at a used car lot that's just like doing all kind of this.
Oh, that was good. Did you see how good I really looked like an inflatable car lot guy?
You did. Put that on your resume.
I will.
So it's down to Buffy the hero to save the day yet again.
So she grabs, very resourceful, grabs one of those like
banners.
Our school does sports banners this year, and like jumps on her and puts her out.
Now this is where I think the second most egregious camera move in this scene happens.
Right.
So Buffy she dives over the girl, extinguishes the flames, but she's down on all fours and the camera is just aimed right up her poop chute. Like it's so invasive and it made me so uncomfortable. Again, if I'm watching a scene and I'm thinking about the camera, then you failed.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have shot that from any angle. We could have shot that from above. We could have shot that aligned at the top of this girl's head. We could have shot it from the other side. We didn't have to just put Buffy face down, ass up, and then just point the camera right up her colon. It just was, in the span of a couple minutes, we've had 2 very like leering camera moves that kind of took me out of the scene.
I'm so proud of you
for
putting your boner to the side and being a feminist. It's lovely.
My being a feminist has nothing to do with my boner.
But you're not ruled, you're not led around by your bone.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously this is not expected. So we got to go consult the Giles,
which is the nerve center of the Hellmouth response squad.
Right. So Giles is the one who's like, yo, it's SHC, man. Spontaneous human combustion, right, which is one of my greatest fears. This episode actually touches on not 1, but 3 of my actual, like, truly horrifying since I was a child nightmares.
Wait, so are you afraid that spontaneous human combustion exists, or you're afraid it's going to happen to you?
Both.
Well, Giles does say that one of the precursors that we understand very little about it, but that one of the precursors is rage. And while you are many wonderful, wonderful things, you are also the angriest person I've ever met.
You are not making me feel further away from spontaneous human combustion.
You're like Bruce Banner in the Avengers, where he's like, that's my secret, I'm always angry. Like that's kind of you.
I do relate to the Hulk, actually. Right. I did do one of those dumb like internet things where it's like, you're a combination of these 3 characters. Do you remember what mine were? Like the dumb BuzzFeed quiz.
No.
Hulk.
Right.
Buffy.
Okay.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, that actually is you.
I know.
Put that in a tumbler and shake it.
Isn't that weird?
We get a Ketryn cocktail.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's spookily accurate.
Yeah. Perhaps I'll share my terrifying recurring dream that I had in college later, because it has 2 of the elements that we'll talk about in the episode in it. So Giles is, trying to figure out what's going on, and God damn it, I told you that Ripper was going to show up in every single episode.
And to clarify, my contention is that the idea of Rupert Giles's Ripper phase was not on anyone's mind at this point. I think they wrote Giles firmly as a Poindexter, and that it wasn't until later they thought, but what if he has this dark side that he used to indulge when he was younger? And they retrofitted it into the show. I don't think this is a thing.
Nah, bro.
So what is your Ripper moment?
The Ripper moment is, so they're talking about terrifying spontaneous human combustion. Like a cheerleader just caught on fire, right? Everyone's freaked out, understandably. And he's over there going, well, that's the thrill of living on the Hellmouth. There's a veritable cornucopia of fiends and devils and ghouls to engage.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's Rippery as
he gets a creep boner, not the way Xander does, but his is like, ooh, hobgoblins.
Yeah, like power, magic, creeps. Yeah, like it's.
And he almost has to check himself. Like he almost is like, feels like he revealed too much in front of these people.
So be honest, on a scale of 1 to 10, how Rippery was that?
I don't feel like that's Ripper. I feel like Ripper would be too cool to get excited about, banshees and hobgoblins.
Stay tuned. He doesn't remember this series as well as I do. Okay, so Willow is also very excited because she's like, oh, yay, I get to hack things. That's her thing. She gets to figure out, I forget what she's figuring out, though. She has to hack in to find, more examples of spontaneous human combustion.
Yeah, some kind of medical records, maybe.
Or
some schools records.
I think it's Amber's medical records.
To find out if this girl has had weird shit go down in the past.
A family history of spontaneous human combustion.
Yeah, I don't know that they're ready to decide that someone else is doing this to her.
Right.
And we get our first little the Scoobies gang, although they haven't settled on that name yet.
No.
Kind of.
They're workshopping it at this point.
And what do they call themselves?
The Slayerettes.
Sound like a 60s girl group.
I love it.
It's interesting, though, because Xander's like, we're a team. Aren't we a team? And it's like.
And Buffy's like, bitch, no. Get out of my way.
Buffy's a Slayer. Willow, at this point. Is a hacker, computer girl. Not quite sure what Xander's bringing to the table. And it reminded me of what I used to say about the show Queer Eye.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was like, okay, you got Bobby's the interior designer. I guess they got a new one now. I haven't watched the new guy, but we got Bobby. You got Anthony is the chef. John is hair and makeup and grooming. And Tan is fashion and styling. And then Karamo is just miscellaneous.
Right.
And so I feel like that's kind of where Xander fits in. He's miscellaneous right now.
Yeah.
Although weirdly, he does kind of become the Karamo of the group
a little bit.
Once he grows into himself, he does become the heart, the sort of emotional core.
No spoilers
of the group down the line.
Yeah.
If anyone's watching this, if you're watching this and you've never seen this show before, apologies. Apologies all around.
No, maybe they're like you. They just don't remember. So let's
let them get there.
Yeah, exactly.
I was using the Karamo thing to make fun of Xander, and I wound up making a really profound point. So.
Yeah, I like it. So we got to go home for a second, and we got to see World's Best Mom Joyce. Don't you dare come for Joyce.
I feel like, and I think maybe you said something in the watch along that like you wanted to discuss this more in the episode because the watch along is happening pretty quick. We go on a few tangents, but like you got to keep up with the show. So sometimes you just have time to make a point, and then one of us will go like, let's talk about that on the actual episode because we don't have time to really get into it.
Yeah.
My thought in this scene.
Well, let's set up the scene first. So she's in the kitchen. She's got a bunch of like wooden crates like shipping crates, and it's got a bunch of like really expensive art in it. This particular one she's trying to open has like a fertility statue in it,
got
right?
Big dick statues all over her kitchen in boxes.
Hey, she's divorced. She's got to take care of herself.
Woman's got needs.
Yeah. So but the problem is that like Buffy came home late. Joyce didn't remember that she was trying out for cheerleaders.
Didn't remember what it even was.
Remember what it was. And Buffy is definitely like, well, Amy's mom, not only did she know she was going to cheerleading practice, but she's been training with her. And Joyce's response while she's trying to open a crate is, sounds like Amy's mom doesn't have very much to do. And that's true.
So we always give Joyce points for being super mom.
And I always will.
And I feel like I was surprised how checked out she was in this scene. I feel like now from a writing standpoint, it gives her a starting place and gives her somewhere to go, but she is not killing it as a supportive mom right here?
I will say I will back off slightly from my point, because sure, I'll concede that this isn't like her gold star shining mom moment, but I do appreciate that there is something that could happen. She's divorced. She just moved to a new town. She's now a single mom with her daughter. Her daughter was just kicked out of school for burning the gym down. And she is still finding ways to not be like up Buffy's ass like a cameraman, and letting her live her life and like also living her life. Okay, so she forgot Buffy was trying out for cheerleading for the cheerleading squad. But I appreciate a mom who isn't only living the life of their child.
That's fair. I think the little bit of information we got from Amy about her mom making her practice for cheerleading 6 hours a day is excessive. But I think on the other end of things, I think you're right. I think she does need to have her own life, her own interests. I think there is something
it makes you a better parent
for leading by example and showing your child that you can have a fulfilling life and do
that
all
you were
the things.
A person before you were a mom.
And I think the trick with that, though, is to not do that at the expense of showing up for your kid. And so I weirdly mirroring Buffy's struggle in this episode and for the show in general, Joyce is sort of working from a place of striking that balance, figuring out that balance.
Yeah.
How do I balance my Slayer duties and my life as a private citizen? How do I balance my role as a mother and my big dick statue aficionado hobby? So,
honey,
I think we're it's all tying together. And from a writing standpoint, loved it. I was surprised. I didn't remember Joyce being this checked out.
I love Joyce. I won't hear any disparaging remarks against her ever again. I will always defend Joyce.
Okay.
Okay. So we got to head back to, where are we going? Oh, we got to go back to tryouts. So it's like, day 2 or whatever of tryouts. And Amy is doing her little formation, whatever the little cheer is. And she does a cartwheel right the fuck into Cordy and knocks her over.
And this stunt is harrowing because it's not stunt people, it's the actual actors.
Yeah.
And she tumbles and lands right on Cordelia's leg. And I'm shocked that no one was massively injured. This is the same injury that ended Joe Theismann's career. Someone came down on his leg, and it snapped on television, Monday Night Football.
Joe Theismann's thigh?
It wasn't his thigh.
It should have been his thigh.
The lower bit. But I was so nervous because it was so dangerous. They didn't use stunt people. They just somersault into this girl and land on her leg.
On her leg.
And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. It also, you didn't, wait, did you watch this one with me? So the episodes that we just did for KK Sam, part 2 is coming out this week, I think.
It'll be out Wednesday.
I watched, what the F did I watch? Oh, Smile 2.
Right.
And there is that exact injury in the movie. And every time, like, I can watch gore. Like, obviously, one of my jobs is literally to watch gory shit. And I appreciate it. Like, especially when it's like anatomical. Like, I like just kind of seeing how our bodies work.
Like, you loved how far they went with it in the substance.
Yes.
It's one of your favorite things about that movie.
Yes. But for whatever reason, broken bones through skin is like almost my limit.
Is that one of the fears that this episode stoked? Or are you discovering a new one as we speak about it?
That one's not a fear. That's just like something that I don't desire to experience.
Well, I think you're out on a limb there. I think most people probably do want their bones.
Get it? A limb?
Hey!
Okay. Anyway. So that's not good. Don't knock over Cordy. Don't Theismann her leg either. But at the trophy case, so those trophy cases where it's like, this guy back in 76 won a race and yay. He's peaking.
The best his life's ever going to be.
Yeah.
So
let's make sure we have a picture in here so we can feel like he did something with his life. That's mean. He might have done something with his life.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about the guy in 1976 who won a race. I'm sure he did other stuff. It's so mean, Eric. Okay, so we're standing at the trophy case, and Amy is doing a couple different things. First of all, you coughing, Ethel? Sorry, our dog has a cough.
We did have comments that people want to see Ethel again. So before this is over, we may have to bring her up and show off her new haircut.
You'll have to stick around to the end.
That's what we save the dog. We'll tease the dog. We'll save her for the end of the show.
Yeah, there you go. So Amy is standing with Buffy in a realtor outfit.
What did you say? You said in the live watch that she looked like she was interning at her dad's law firm as a receptionist and bringing the next client back in for
1,000%. And she was like, you know what I think I should wear today? A magic eye.
Yeah,
shirt.
It's this weird pattern, black and white thing. Looks crazy. She's got her hair up in like a French twist.
Yeah.
She looks like she's 32.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, here's what I'll say. Like, Eric and I do love talking about fashion. We both love, reading people for their outfits, but also appreciating people for their outfits.
I'll call out a great outfit if I see one.
Yeah,
for sure.
But also, like, one of the things that Sarah Michelle Gellar did sort of joke about was that, like, season 1 there was no budget for her wardrobe, and it's evident. Yeah.
Speaking of her wardrobe, someone commented on one of our TikToks that apparently we hated the cross that Angel gave her that I said looked like 2 sticks of butter. It's this big, chunky, ugly cross with no detail in it. Apparently, Sarah Michelle Gellar complained about that.
Shut up.
Not because it was ugly, but that it was really hard to style around. Like, it didn't go with very many things. And so
it goes with no things.
So she was very annoyed that there's outfits she and the wardrobe people wanted to put her in the early seasons, and they couldn't make the cross work with it.
Of course,
she had
you can't
to lose out on these awesome outfits because of this ugly fucking cross.
Thank you. Vindicated. So one of the other things that we learn is that, like, no, Amy doesn't appear to, like, really want to be a cheerleader, but her mom was, like, the head cheerleader. There's a statue of her mom in the trophy case, titled Catherine the Great. And I'm like, yo, that is some really frustrating shoes to fill from your parent.
Yeah, and you want to talk about peaking young.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So this is also where Buffy has the worst line of the show, which I'll talk about in our superlatives.
Okay.
Willow also comes over and so she refers to something as Nazi-like, and I'm noticing that, like, that's something that I've been saying my whole life to describe a situation or a person or an actor,
like severe,
right? But, like, when I hear it now, it, like, doesn't have the same. I feel like a sadness when I hear that referenced now, and I can't figure out why.
Well, I think the reason is in the 90s, say you could have a guy who runs a soup counter on a sitcom.
And it's like, haha, funny, soup
he's
Nazi.
The soup Nazi. Because Nazis were such a thing of the past and they were no longer a threat to us.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now we have fucking Nazis everywhere and they're a very big threat to us. So you can't throw that word around. Like, there was comfort in referring to something as a Nazi because it was like a dead idea.
Yeah, it was very much like, remember when that crazy shit happened and is no longer a thing?
But you wouldn't call someone a soup Nazi now because there are real Nazis that are fucking up things.
That makes sense. That's what, yeah. So it's just like and it's not like this is the only show that says it or that I haven't, but it just, every time I'm like, why do I feel like a sadness? And I think that must be why, without me I wasn't able to articulate it, but that feels right. Yeah. So we also learned that, like, Willow didn't find anything about Amber's medical records.
Right.
And is, back to square one, kind of.
And can we talk about Willow for a second here too? Willow's
I'll always talk about Willow.
Fashion has definitely she's had a bit of a glow up.
She really has.
And my theory on this, my headcanon is that when Cordy read her to filth about her outfit in the pilot, I think it had an impact. It's sort of the way drag queens will read each other.
Yeah.
It's an insult. I'm calling you out for some ugly thing or some bad wig or whatever. But ultimately it's meant as constructive criticism.
Right.
It's a thing that you can look at and improve upon. You can take that weapon away from me by stepping your pussy up. And in a weird way, I think Cordy provided that for Willow.
Yeah.
And Willow took the note and stepped her pussy up.
It really felt like she was like, Mom, I got this one. I'm going to do my own outfit today. Because there's like a funkiness and a quirkiness and a willowness to it. But she doesn't look like her mom just dressed her in hand-me-downs on their way to synagogue. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like Willow's outfits in this episode are funky, not fonky.
Yeah,
if
that's a good
sense.
way of FONKY. Right. Yeah. So now we're in the locker room. Amy's in the locker room and she's feeling a certain type of way. She's feeling like something is near her, behind her, looking at her.
This whole setup, because we track through, it's almost like an Evil Dead shot, right? Where we track through the showers and then down the dark locker room. And it reminded me of the shower scene from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, where the S&M gym coach gets tied up to the showers and gets his butt whipped by towels.
Yeah.
Like, it was giving those vibes.
Did you just say the S&M gym coach? Was he coaching people in S&M?
No, he was their gym teacher. You've seen this movie.
I know. I don't remember. You said S&M gym coach, and I'm like, did I miss the S&M class?
He is at a S&M like gay bar. And
I got it.
He runs
into, I figured it
out. Sleepwalking Jesse, and again, talking about like having a authority where you don't really have it. He makes Jesse like go run laps in the middle of the night at the gym, and then he takes off his leather gear and he's going to take a shower, and then he gets tied up to the showers, and Freddy whips his ass with towels. Like,
okay.
It's a fun film if you haven't checked it out.
Well, I'm just glad that there aren't any gym teachers having an S&M unit in their school curriculum.
Right. I thought climbing the rope was tough. Imagine you had to be like,
could you climb the rope?
Yeah. I mean, I used to weigh $145 when I was built like a greyhound when I was in high school. I
never could. And I would just kind of hang on it. And just, that was all I could do. So hold on. I lost my place, guys. 1 second. Oh, so we're in the locker room. It's not S&M coach or Bruce Campbell. It is in fact Cordelia, the scarier than all of those things.
Yeah, the jump scare is.
And she is reading Amy the riot act with what we were positive was a pair of ladies' underwear wrapped around her finger.
Yeah, she's got something in her hand and it's wrapped around her finger and she's gesturing with it. And he's basically saying to Amy, like, if you knocking into me costs me making the cheer squad, I will fucking end you. And she keeps like gesturing with what looks like a pink pair of Victoria's Secret panties, to the point where we were fully convinced that's what it was. And then
we were there for it. Like, we were kind of like, I mean, like intimidating this girl with a pair of her own underwear. Like that's pretty boss.
That is some unhinged boss bitch behavior.
Yeah.
And so she's doing it, and then she throws it in her locker and storms out.
Right. And to be clear, we will learn what this is. But up to this point, Eric and I were like, threatens her with underwear. Check. Like, that was for sure what we thought it was.
I'm so committed to this bit that even once we figure out what it really is, in my head canon, it was still that, because that's such a great scene.
It's still underwear. So Amy is obviously scared. Who wouldn't be? So now we have to head over to I don't know what this sentence means. The typos abound. I help me out here. It says Xander wears needing if he should ask out Buddy.
Xander wondering
if
he should ask out Buddy.
Buddy the Christmas elf.
Buddy the Vampire Slayer.
Buddy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy. Like, how often do I need to type Buffy
before it stops autocorrecting
to Buddy? What the fuck? But anyway, he's talking to Willow and he's like, oh my gosh, I love talking to you because you're a guy friend who also knows about girl stuff. And Willow's like, womp.
Yeah.
Womp.
And it's a little foreshadowing because Willow is devastated by this. But Xander's he's going to learn.
He's going to get his comeuppance
of that, that backhanded compliment.
But he's also like, okay, so they're at the list, like to see who made the team or whatever. And
Xander like fights his way through,
elbows through
the crowd because he needs to know who made
what
the cheer
is
squad.
Your deal, dude? Like he's
got no chill.
He's got no chill, and I feel like he like lacks self-awareness to the nth degree.
This was the other thing you wanted me to bring up on the show. We didn't have time to do.
What was it?
So everyone, the prevailing theory is that Xander is a stand-in for the creator of the show, is his sort of avatar in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And people genuinely up and down the Buffy Reddits hate Xander, can't fucking stand him. And I feel like there's this thought that like the creator of the show, who we name by name, Tox Weasel, we call him, put him in there to be like, this is who I was and everyone's going to love him. I don't know. The way Xander's written in this episode, he's highly problematic. I think they knew they were writing a shithead because his behavior is, he's so grating. He's so abrasive and they call him out on it. Like Willow is constantly calling him out, being like, why are you ogling these cheerleaders?
Right, but she's okay. Yes, and so here's what I think. As someone who evolved in their opinion of Xander, that is how I know that he was not originally written to be disliked. And the reason that I think that is because when the show was actually on, Xander was not the only high school boy character that exhibited a lot of the same behavior. I think it's put into stark contrast because his squad is 2 women, but like what I feel like the attitude towards him was like, oh, Xander, you silly 16-year-old boy, where it's like what women dealt with all the time, which was like a boy pulls your ponytail. Oh, that's just because they like you.
Right.
That was the prevailing. It was excused. And even in the show, like you're saying, like Willow calls him out. Not really. It's always like
gentle.
It's gentle. And it's always like oh, Xander. It's not calling him out would be saying, Xander, why are you being so creepy and creeping these girls out and making him say, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
And I think what's actually happened, why like the fandom is, I'm going to say turning on him, not that they were already like just for this argument, is because societally our sensibilities have changed. And as someone who
post Me Too, Xander.
But as someone who works with, despite me having lots of issues with Xander, and I'm going to call out his behavior literally every episode, I also work with teenage boys.
Right.
And I do come to Xander's defense sometimes when people are just like so hateful towards him. I'm like, guys, have you ever met a 16-year-old boy?
We're the worst.
Even the best of them suck.
Right.
And like, unfortunately, I'm so sorry, honey, but like most of you suck till you're like 30. And it's just like, I don't think people are being kind enough to Xander, saying like the patriarchy makes a victim of everyone, not just women. And Xander is in fact like very much a victim of the patriarchy.
He absolutely is.
Because he also is told that he has to be this type of person, this type of man. He has to gain these types of things. His
self-worth is through conquest and romantic women, involvement and all this.
When in fact, his 2 best friends are both women. One is smarter than him and the other is stronger than him.
Yeah.
So I actually think that we are watching a character like reckon with the patriarchy.
I love that take. I feel like.
Do I think Tox Weasel did that on purpose? I do not. I think he stumbled into that, much like he stumbled into his feminism, honestly.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I forget we're doing a show and I'm just having a conversation with my husband.
Well, fortunately, our show is you having a conversation with your husband. So
yeah, that works out. Okay. So what's happening? Xander sucks. Oh, so he goes, so he goes and looks at the list. And this bit is annoying. Speaking of Xander being an idiot. So he goes up and he's like, congratulations, Buffy and Amy. You made the team. Buffy, your first alternate. Amy, your third alternate. And obviously Amy and Buffy are both like, wah. Amy storms off and he's like, what did I do? And they're like, alternate. You're an alternate.
Right.
And that's stupid because I'm like, Xander knows what the word alternate means.
Yeah, you don't have to know anything about cheerleading.
Yeah. So that was stupid. And Buffy tries to sort of comfort Amy by saying, hey, let's have that brownie pig out that you wanted, which is something that her mom obviously won't let her do.
Right.
And yeah, so now we got to cut back to the witch house.
Yes.
We're back at Spirit Halloween, otherwise known as my house. It's not. My house does not look as Spirit Halloween as this place does, but whatever. And we have some more Nickelodeon slime in the cauldron. And we see that she grabs a brunette Barbie this time.
Yes.
And what does brunette mean? Who might it be?
Well,
who's our favorite brunette?
Well, Cordelia, but we get an even bigger clue,
which is
not panties, a scrunchie,
headband,
a pink ponytail situation wrapped around the doll's face. Again, my headcanon, it's
underwear.
Her underwear.
Yeah,
and plunk into the vat of ooze.
Yeah. So something's gonna go on with Cordelia's face. I can only presume she's gonna come into school with women's underwear sewn to her face. Right? I think that's what happens. I can't remember. Let's see.
Yeah, let's check the notes.
So breakfast time at the Summers house.
Yes.
And Joyce is already evolving and going, you know what? Maybe I didn't show up as my best self when I was unpacking penis statues the other day. Yes. And she says, Buffy, I'm sorry, but I'd love it if you did yearbook instead, because it feels like you're less likely to burn down the gym if you do yearbook.
I think she's also trying to lift her spirits a little bit because it's like, okay, you didn't make the cheer squad. Yearbook, you don't even have to try out. Nobody wants to do it. If you just show up, they'll make you the fucking editor.
Yeah.
Like, I think that she's trying to give her like a little morale boost.
Yeah.
But Buffy hits her with a, I don't want your life.
Why are you so good at that? Also, why did he say it like that?
That's a question you have to ask.
Also, that was one of my favorite movies with my best friend Lauren in high school. And our favorite part is when he slow-mo takes his helmet off, but right as AC/DC is singing, and a shaking at the knees. And Lauren and I were just like, what is this feeling? It was great. I don't want your life. So
wait, were you just doing Wicked?
Yeah.
You're kind of rocking a little Wicked here. Let's do the thing. Move it a little closer to the camera.
Okay, hold on.
So much shit went down before Dorothy showed up.
Oh my gosh. Can this be can you screenshot that?
Yes.
And have it be our Christmas card?
Done.
Christmas time. Okay. So Eric keeps Christmas well all year long. That's
Facts.
Something that you should know about Eric. So Buffy's not having it. Back at school now.
I will say this episode moved around, used to great advantage all the different locations.
They didn't need a hockey rink.
That second episode is just Kool-Aid mouth layer library.
He hasn't
Kool-Aid mouth layer library.
He hasn't stopped talking about this.
Kool-Aid mouth layer library. At this, we're in the gym. We're in the locker room.
Now we're in a car.
We're in the house. We're in a car.
We're in a Spirit Halloween.
We got scope, baby.
Yeah. So Cordy walks past Xander and Willow without making fun of either Xander or Willow.
And Zillow.
Zillow is like, what?
Xander clocks this. He's like, wait, no insults?
Yeah.
He just wants attention so bad.
So badly. But he's also like trying to, step his pussy up to ask Buffy out. Buffy walks up and immediately is like, what the fuck's up with Cordelia? And just as Xander is about to ask her out, she's like, I gotta go. Can you hold my books? I gotta go investigate. And of course, Xander makes it completely about himself. And it's just like, and nobody loves me. I'm a teenage boy Eeyore.
Well, Pooh, I guess I'll just go kill myself.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. So who's he what? Buffy follows Cordy out to the parking lot where she has a driver's ed lesson with the worst teacher I've ever seen. He should be absolutely fired.
He's got
from his job.
What is a doctor has a bedside manner? What's the equivalent for a teacher?
Classroom management.
But he's out in a parking lot. But
yeah,
this guy had none of that.
None of that.
None of the
finesse.
Well,
also just like
general
human safety precautions. Because what happens is,
we learned that Cordy's failed her driving test twice.
Twice, yeah. Which sometimes people fail their driving test twice.
Only losers.
Listen, okay, if only losers fail their driver's test twice, then I guess you're calling me and Cordelia a loser. He would never.
Anyway.
So he's like, all right, check your mirrors. She doesn't. Put your seatbelt on. She doesn't.
She's like in a trance. Like she's very checked out, very 1,000 yards.
She can't even like see where to like put it into drive. And this teacher just rolls his eyes and doesn't say, maybe today's not the best day to be behind the wheel of a death machine. When it doesn't appear you're all there. Right. But instead he's like, I roll, let's go.
We see her point of view and her vision is definitely blurry. So like that's what wrapping the underwear around the Barbie doll's head apparently blinded Cordelia.
So she obviously like can't drive. She's spinning all over the place and I think hits something, stumbles out just as a UPS truck is about to hit her, and Buffy saves the day.
She does like a Duke Boys, like TJ Hooker over the hood of a car, grabs her, tackles her out of the way. It's very exciting
TJ stuff. Sex worker. Thank you very much.
TJ Hooker was a cop show starring William Shatner, like post Star Trek.
Really?
Cop show. Heather Locklear was the lady cop on that show.
Really?
Yeah. You've never heard of this?
Never in my life. Yeah. I just assumed William Shatner did Star Trek and then
started going to conventions.
Yeah. I had no idea. I also thought Heather Locklear was like a breakout star in whatever that other show was.
Melrose Place?
Yeah.
No, she'd been around. She was like, she was the hot young lady cop on TJ Hooker.
This is where we get to see that I'm just so much younger than my husband. I'm just a little baby. I don't know all these references you're talking about. Anyone want to talk about Blue's Clues?
Actually, it's not even fucking Blue's Clues anymore. Like that actually just showed my age.
Yeah,
it's Bluey.
No one knows what you're talking
about. Yeah,
about.
Nobody knows. God damn it. Okay, so whoops, Cordy almost died.
I feel like though Buffy saving her from getting smushed by a truck wiped out the trying to kill her with a stick.
Right.
So I feel like they're back to neutral now.
Yeah, Cordy's like, all right, well, thank you. Begrudgingly. So saves her from the UPS truck and she's got white eyes. Like she's like, I can't see. So they got to go back to the library to be like, all right, listen, Giles, we've got spontaneous human combustion. We've got blinding. Like something is happening here. What is going on? We also, Xander does touch on one of the most perplexing elements of this show, which is Sunnydale is in fact in Southern California. Mm-hmm. You could look at an apartment that is the inside of a shit smeared dumpster and they'll be like, that'll be $2,300 a month, please.
Well, in the 90s though, I don't know if that was necessarily the case. It's certainly the case now.
Yeah. But I mean like Southern California real estate was still always,
it's always been expensive.
But somehow like Sunnydale still
single mom could roll in with a art gallery job. And,
and Xander's like, no, that checks out. Everybody dies here and nobody knows why.
Vampires and witches and
it's not great. We're on a hellmouth.
Ooh, hobgoblins.
Who does?
Giles. Do
you mean Ripper?
I don't mean Ripper. I never mean Ripper.
He means Ripper. So they're like, all right, shit. Here's the deal. Giles is like, this sounds like a witch to me. And they immediately suspect Amy just because of her desperation, they're not even
parental pressure. She's got a motive.
Yeah, but they're not even necessarily like being like Amy is a bad. Like they're just kind of like poor Amy. She's under a lot of pressure.
Well, it's funny because Giles goes, so wait a minute, the cheerleaders, whoever's doing this hates cheerleaders. And I'm like, bitch, you hate cheerleaders.
You hate cheerleaders.
Giles is high on my suspect list at this point.
Yeah, that's very true. He's like, if there's no squad, my Slayer can't cheer. That's not his accent at all.
No.
I gotta work on it. All right. So Willow is like, ooh, I have an idea. Let's see who checked out the books on witchcraft. And Xander's like, how about we don't and say we did? Because Xander's being a typical 16-year-old boy, and he checked them all out to look at the archaic boobies.
Yeah, there's drawings and etchings of topless witches in these books. Xander's the kind of guy that would have checked out National Geographic from the library so he could look at the photos of topless Native women.
Were you the kind of guy that checked out National Geographic?
No, I never did that. However, I will say I have
sympathy. Please remember that whatever story you're going to tell will be heard by your current wife.
Yes, my first wife is definitely going to hear this story.
Oh God. All right, proceed.
Before the internet, pickings were slim for boys that wanted to see naked women in those days. Like there was,
you could work for it.
You could watch scrambled porn and hope that the picture cleared up for just enough of a second to kind of catch a nipple.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and this was a pretty widespread phenomenon among people I know, someone in your friend group found a giant garbage bag full of porn magazines, like either in the alley or in the woods.
What?
Like a 70-pound bag full. Like some guy, either his wife was just like, you got to get rid of this, or he just had like the most profound post-nut clarity in the world. You would find a giant bag of porn. We'd lug it back to, in my case, my friend's house, put it up in the attic of his garage, and then we would take shifts going up there to look at the porn and be like, all right, you've been up there long enough. It's my turn. Hi, welcome to Major Slayage. Eric watches Buffy all by himself.
I can't know that story anymore. Also, if anyone is wondering why I will come to the defense of Xander, it's because all 16-year-old boys suck. And are gross.
We're filled with these hormones we don't know what to do with. We have no social skills to do anything with actual girls.
We are also filled with hormones, and you don't see us just rubbing on logs.
I don't remember mentioning logs at all.
That was the only thing I was in the woods with your your sack of mags.
Yeah, no, definitely a sack of mags was a thing. I guess send off in the comments. Did you have a sack of mags in your youth? Yeah, my childhood was like the movie Stand By Me, but instead of going to see a dead body, they were taking turns climb up into the attic to look at a 70-pound bag of porn magazines.
I hate this. I wish I could. I wish I could move on out of my own skin right now. Okay, so we got to expose a witch, and Giles is like, I have a spell to just see who the witch is, but we got to collect some shit. We got to collect Eye of Newt, some other shit, and Willow is like, the science lab, there's things in there that can make potions to expose witches. Willow's so smart. I love Willow. So now we go to the science lab and we're dissecting a frog, and it's very upsetting, and I want to brush past it. Willow,
you want to brush past it because you don't want me to tell my frog story.
Absolutely don't want you to tell a frog story, and if you do, I actually will refill my water. I'm gonna refill my water. You go ahead and tell the frog story. I hate it.
Well, so my freshman year of high school, we had to do frog dissection in science class, and we cut them open, we did the thing, and then when we weren't finished with everything, we wrapped them up in paper towels, wrote our names on them, put them in the fridge in the back of the classroom, and then the next day, I was the unfortunate soul who had to go back to the fridge, grab the frogs out, and pass them out to everyone based on, they were like little frog burritos, and they had everyone's name written on them. And as I'm passing these frog burritos out, I feel the frogs start moving in my hand. And I was like, these fucking frogs aren't dead. They are squirming around. They've been cut open and they've been in a fridge all goddamn night. And I laugh about it. It was very scarring. It was very traumatizing event. It's why I knew I could never be a doctor.
And then all the frogs survived and hopped off into the forest.
You should go grab Ethel real quick.
Okay.
While we're at a nice moment here. So yeah, that's my frog story that she doesn't want me to tell. But I definitely was triggered watching them do frog dissection in school. So by popular demand, here is our little baby girl, Ethel. This is my biological daughter.
Yeah.
She's just the sweetest. She just got a haircut.
But you guys have to still stick around till the end of the episode, even though we showed you Ethel early. Okay, back in your bed.
Yes, she sits in here with us while we do the show. She's at our feet the whole time. You may hear her coughing from time to time.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in the science lab, and Willow is making a potion, and we learn that Buffy has a lot of skills. She's very good at a lot of things.
Yes.
But not everybody can be good at everything.
Right.
And Buffy is not good at anything even mildly resembling subtlety.
Right. Subterfuge is not in her skill set.
No. Because she very obviously goes over to Amy's backpack and like pretends to drop a pencil to get hair out of her brush.
Yeah, Willow's putting some chemicals in a test tube, in a beaker.
Yeah.
And she's like, and you grab her hair, and that's the final piece of the spell.
And then she has to walk back over with the little beaker, and she has to spill it on Amy to see if it turns blue.
Like a pregnancy test.
Right. Yeah. Which she does very obviously and unstealthily. And Amy's like, what the fuck, dude? But it's all distracted by the fact that the second part of my worst nightmares happens right here.
Which is?
A girl loses her mouth and does jazz hands about it, which apparently is part of the witchcraft of this universe, that anytime a witch puts a spell on you, there is an addition of jazz hands to go along with it. So we have Fire Girl that's going like this, and then No Mouth Girl, her response is to go like this.
Yeah, it reminded me of that scene from Doctor Strange 2 when Reed Richards is explaining, Black Bolt can destroy you with one whisper from his mouth, and Wanda just goes, "What mouth?"
So scary.
He's got no mouth.
There's something, for whatever reason that like really scares me. Like I've had nightmares where like somebody that I love is trying to talk to me, but they have like a no mouth, but like the part where their mouth is just kind of like twitching. Yeah, it's really, I hate it. It's really upsetting.
They had your number this episode.
Yeah, it really, yeah. So I'll just say my spontaneous combustion nightmare. It was like a long ongoing thing, but it ended with, in the dream, my arm catches on fire spontaneously from within. In the dream, I wake up in the room that I am actually sleeping in the position I'm actually sleeping in. And in the dream, I wake up from the dream and I look at my arm and it is still on fire. I then actually wake up.
So you got the double fake out.
Yes.
Dream within a dream.
Yes. I then actually wake up. And this is the part that like I had to go into my roommate at the time, Anna's bedroom. I was like, I need to crawl into your bed because I had a nighty nightmare because my arm felt like it was hot for like 5 minutes afterwards.
This is like some Freddy Krueger shit. Like you brought the heat out of your
terrifying
dream.
Like
she let you in her bed. She's like, you're gonna catch me on fire.
I think I don't know that she fully knew I was there. I think I just kind of crawled in like a little puppy dog. So scary. So loses her mouth and jazz hands about it. So now the Scoobies, or the Slayerettes at this time, they haven't discovered they're the Scoobies yet. They are like back in the library and they're like, listen, I don't think Amy knows what she's doing. Like, I don't think we think Amy's the witch because the shit turned blue, right? But they're like, I don't think she's doing this on purpose. I think her rage, her insecurity, her desperation is like making this happen.
But we as the audience have a little bit of dramatic irony in that we've definitely seen someone deliberately dunking Barbie dolls in the goo and wrapping their faces up in underwear. So someone is doing this on purpose. So at this point, we're led to believe maybe it's not Amy. Even if Amy is a witch, she's got the blue.
But maybe it's not her doing it.
Maybe she's not the one doing this.
So they decide that they need to go talk to Amy's mom to be like, hey, maybe like chill out a bit.
They don't go right away though.
They don't go, but they say that they should go talk to Amy's mom.
To like stop pressuring her.
Stop pressuring her. You're making her witch out.
Right.
Basically. But we cut to Amy at home now. And I think she was wearing your favorite outfit in this one, which we'll talk about in the superlatives.
Yeah,
but it was this scene, right?
Stunning here in the computer lab, and wears the same outfit home.
Yeah,
just looks great.
So she goes home, and listen, Amy does not appear to be so innocent anymore because she is a stone cold bitch to her mom, and her mom looks as terrified as we all look when Cordelia comes to talk to us. She looks so intimidated and scared.
Yeah, so she comes in, she talks mad shit to her mom. She's like, well, another day wasting away in front of the television. By the way, I've got history homework. Do it, bitch. Like, she's... And I'm like...
And mom is, like...
sniveling.
Yeah.
She's like, Darla, sorry. It was like... cognitive dissonance out the wazoo. Something's afoot, because... this is the Nazi mom who's like, won't let her eat brownies, but she comes home and just like reads her the riot act.
Yeah.
So something's not adding up.
I'm also giving mad props to both of these actresses. Neither of them had to be as good at their job as
Correct.
they were. Like, it was, you know, I never miss an opportunity to critique someone's acting. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and say this. It is not me being salty about... well, sometimes it's me being salty about it. But often, like, I enjoy critiquing people's acting. I enjoy, like, trying to come up with, like, the choices that I would make if I was in that scenario. I also like when Eric will tell me that there's, like, a plot hole or, like, you know, a choice that doesn't make sense. One of my favorite, like, exercises that I do is I try to justify the choice as the actor.
If I was the actor was given this script that makes no sense, how would
I justify it? Yeah. So anyway, but these two women, like, no notes.
Yeah, they're both great.
They were fantastic.
For reasons to be revealed later, they're even better than we even know at this point.
Yeah. So, and then, but we also see that while Buffy was devoid of stealth, Amy had it all because she stole Buffy's bracelet.
Yeah, Amy's like, yeah, Buffy's trying to steal my hair.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I picked her pocket and I stole her medical alert bracelet.
Yeah. So now we cut to wake up time with Buffy the next day, and she Slayer strengths her alarm clock. How many alarm clocks do you think this girl went through? Honestly,
I'll put a stake in that because I think I don't want to spoil what the plot's doing. I don't think that's how she wakes up every morning.
I feel like it's how I would wake up every morning if I had Slayer strengths.
Wake up every morning.
Yeah, just like, yeah. It made sense to me. Right. I was like, this looks like just a normal everyday morning, but I guess it's not, because the spell that was put on Buffy made her think she knew the tune to a song that she didn't know the tune to. That was the spell.
Yeah,
that was put on Buffy with her bracelet.
This is Banooni. So she's a little bit cracked out. It reminded me of, there's an episode of Kim and Ket Stay Alive maybe where Kim had taken some kind of bee pollen supplement.
It's like bee propolis or something, and she was
just like she was just cracked out of her mind. And that's kind of how Buffy is. So she's just all over the place. She's so excited. She's so scared.
And she starts singing Macho Man, which is okay. Macho man, I want to be a macho man is pretty the close, tune, right? What is she singing?
I don't know, but she doesn't. It seems like she read the script, got there on the day, and didn't know the song. And a crewman was just like, "Oh, it kind of goes like you just go macho man and macho." Like,
yeah,
she sings a thing that sounds like she's never heard the song. So why, if you're cracked out on bee pollen, do you sing a song you don't actually know?
No, it was very
wild.
Weird. But she's cuckoo banana brains. Just seems a little like, she seems like on drugs, basically. Right. Like she just seems kind of too peppy.
And she's chattering away at Joyce, and she even goes like, "Oh my God, and being a vampire slayer is so hard." And Joyce is just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like she drops it on her.
Which, oh my gosh. Okay. There's no way I'll remember this, but like we learn something about Buffy later, many seasons down the line, about an experience she had after she saw her first vampire, and it makes this line and Joyce's reaction to it a little sinister.
I have no idea.
I guess I'll just say it. At one point we learned that after she saw her first vampire, she was telling people, vampires are real, I'm the Slayer. Everyone thought she was nuts. So she was institutionalized until she just said, "Just kidding. There are no vampires. I'm not the Slayer." So like the idea that she spills it again and Joyce is just like, what's that? Ignoring it, not just brushing past it.
Right.
I think there's like a level of trauma that we don't even know is there about it, which I found ominous and fascinating. Now that they definitely didn't know they were doing. They knew they were writing Ripper, but they definitely didn't know that they were doing that. That's for sure.
Zero evidence to support that.
Okay, so we're cheerleading. Buffy is all over the goddamn place. She has no Slayer coordination for miles and miles away. She steps on people's feet. She's wearing the wrong shoes. She's super drunk. She's not really drunk, but she's acting just like a crazy person.
And weirdly, Xander and Willow are at cheerleading practice.
Now, I was irritated by this before, but just now I'm realizing like they're on detective duty and all the crimes are happening at cheerleading practice.
Okay, there is
so
that. I justified it as Xander is stalking Buffy and Willow is chaperoning Xander to make sure he doesn't cross any lines.
But now I think it actually makes more sense than we were giving credit. Yeah,
the witcheroos.
So
although they think it's Amy, and Amy's I guess.
Yeah, Amy's.
And she made the deal because Cordy's out.
Okay. Yeah. And well, so Amber is out, Cordy is out, and No Mouth Girl is out.
Was she a cheerleader?
Yeah.
I guess that wouldn't make sense if she wasn't. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
She's not just like some girl at the grocery store that took the last potato. It sucks. If you go to the store for a potato and someone takes the last potato.
No mouth for you.
Yeah. Right. It sucks. You can't eat your potato now. No mouth.
Yeah, well, you don't need that potato now. Give it to me.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Don't have a mouth.
Yeah. So, so Buffy, not fully understanding her Slayer strength, fucking chucks a bitch across the room. Just picks up a cheerleader and throws her across the room as part of, like, obviously to be like, here's the move I'm doing. Woo!
The girl fully flies across the room, slams into a wall.
And
again, cheerleading is fucking dangerous in this school. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah. And so Willow and Xander like scoot Buffy out. And she quickly goes from drunk to hungover to almost dead within a matter of seconds.
Right.
But not before she shades Xander in the most come-up-any way of all.
He's so they're Buffy can barely walk. They're dragging her through the halls of the school, and she's like, "You know what I love about you, Xander? You're just one of the girls to me."
Yeah.
Highway to the friend zone.
Yeah.
It's he just gets his penis stepped on and broken into a billion pieces.
Yeah.
In that move. And it's like, good, because you did that to Willow. How does it feel?
Exactly.
So Buffy's in a state.
And she passes out.
And where do they take her?
To the hospital.
No.
Just kidding.
They take her to the library, and then Willow's like, we need to take her to the hospital. I'm like,
you could have just taken her to the hospital.
Didn't have to stop here. Like, you just could have gone right there.
Yeah. So Giles just real quick drops on us super nonchalant, like, that we better figure this out because Buffy has 3 hours to live. And all I could think to myself was, so the whole premise of this is that Buffy is like the first Slayer, we can presume, who's like, no, I'm going to have friends and like a community, and I'm going to be a girl, and I'm not just going to be like one-dimensional Slayer person. I'm going to be a person.
Right.
And it turns out having a community is in fact what prevents her from dying from like the most embarrassing Slayer death.
Right.
Can you imagine if you're a Slayer, like the chosen one, and you die from a season 1, episode 3 high school witch? Like, that sucks.
Yeah. Had Xander not been stalking her, she would have stumbled out of cheerleader practice, passed out in a ditch, and died.
Don't tell Xander that, though. It's going to go straight to his penis. We got to just keep that, lock it up.
Right.
So Giles is like, all right, we got to reverse the spell. We have 2 options. We either find her spell book or we decapitate her. And Xander's like, decapitate,
right.
Idiot.
Xander.
He's like, I don't know how to read.
Xander, who couldn't even bring himself to stake Jesse, only killed Jesse because someone bumped him from behind by mistake.
Yeah. By mistake.
So, but now suddenly he's all for cutting heads off.
Right.
Xander's out of his goddamn mind.
We should just tell, what Giles should do is tell Xander that there's boobies in the book.
Go right to
then,
it.
Yeah, you'll find it right away. So
wait, do you think looking at the naked drawings in the witch books is what Xander was doing in the pilot when he overhears Giles and Buffy talking about oh, you're the vampire slayer, and he's like creeping out of the
100.
What book does he have in his hand?
100%.
He was back there spanking off to topless witch drawings.
See if you can find that screenshot and see if you can see if like the book title is in
Witches
it.
of medieval Europe.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I love that book. I have that book, Topless Witches of Medieval Europe. It's a great book. So Giles is like, she's probably casting from her house. I'm gonna carry Buffy to this other student's house.
Right.
Which is just a bold move. It really is. Hi, I'm your daughter's school librarian. I'm here with this other child that I'm carrying over the threshold of your home. May we go up to your attic, please?
And root around for things.
That's fully nuts. Honestly, bless his heart, but Giles would be fired immediately
as a librarian. I think he would have been fired after the first episode. He's hanging out the nightclub with the students,
right?
He's cornering Buffy, like invading her space, and pinning her against the wall.
Yeah,
like, guy.
Yeah, it's true.
It's called personal space.
So, he's like, we got to find her book. Buffy looks corpse-esque right now. So great. Arik was into it. I was like, excuse me?
No, she looked beautiful. She was just like dewy and just like was lit
clammy.
Just so. And just
translucent.
She's a beautiful corpse. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Open casket for this one, I guess. So they go upstairs, but like Amy's mom is like, don't go upstairs. She's going to eat me or kill me or whatever.
And she clearly drops a few hints here.
Yeah, she's like, I woke up in her bed. Oh no, not yet.
No, she's dropping hints about it. She's like, oh, ever since my dad, her dad
left.
And so my spidey sense is going off. I'm like, I think we might have a Freaky Friday on our hands.
And so is Buffs, because we know who Amy's mom is. She would never be like sitting at home in front of the TV with a plate of brownies. Mm-hmm. But lo and behold, here be a plate of brownies.
So here's Buffy on death's door, and she still Columbo's the whole thing. And she's like, wait, you're Amy.
You're Amy.
And Giles is gobsmacked. Yeah. He's like, wait, what? What the what? Who what? Giles has lost the plot at this point. He has no idea what's happening.
Well, he's carrying students around town. He's got a lot going on, right? So this is where Amy's mom, who we now learn is Amy, is like, I freaking woke up in this bitch's bed months ago.
This blew me away.
Months ago.
So that means anytime we've seen Amy this episode, it's been the mom in Amy's body.
Yeah.
And because I kind of figured when she was had the barrette in her hair in science class, and then we see her go home and be me. I was thinking like maybe the switch had happened around then, and maybe we were seeing the early scenes were still Amy.
Yeah.
It's been the mom the whole time, which I found weird because she talks so much shit about her mom. The mom is going, my mom's a Nazi and she makes me work out too hard and she won't let me eat. It's
but
like,
also,
if I was the mom in Amy's body, I'd be like, my fucking mom is dope. Like,
no, you wouldn't, because immediately, like, she knows that Amy has friends. She knows that Amy has probably had great things to say about her mom.
She's keeping the cover, I suppose.
So she's like, now Amy comes into school and is like, my mom's the best. I love her. We hang out all the time. And I love that she trains me for 11 hours a day for a sport that I don't want to do.
But just why bring it up at all, I think?
Because she's playing the role, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. It caught me a little weird, but
I'm an actor.
You could justify the choice.
Yeah. So they go up to the attic where all of her Barbies are hanging, and he goes to a trunk
where a little Tallulah jumps out from behind it.
And he finds her grimoire, which he calls a spell book, to dumb it down for everybody.
I think the reason for that is that they would have to assume a large portion of the audience doesn't know what a grimoire is. And so
heard of the dictionary? Why can't we have our audience go look up a word? Learn a new word, kids.
I think it was just for expediency's sake. I think they just needed to get the idea across and move on.
Okay. Well, so he finds the spell book. Buffy's dying on the couch, and he now has to take Buffy and the spell book back to school, which you didn't love. But then we saw that there's a lot of equipment.
Yeah, they go back because I guess that's
Eric was like, why didn't we bring...
Yeah, the chemicals they need to do whatever spell are at the school. I was like, well, we could have brought them to the house and then done it right there. But it was a lot. They needed a lot of stuff.
We also didn't know if we were going to have to get the book and get out of here. Right. Like, we didn't know that we would have hey, excuse me, witch mom, do you have a counter where we could perhaps set up a sterile facility where we could break your spell? Like, that would never... Yeah. But he also wouldn't feel comfortable leaving Buffy at death's door alone.
I was never saying leave her alone.
No, I'm thinking that. I'm like, it is kind of weird that he carried her to Amy's house and then carried her back. Why wouldn't he just leave her somewhere? But I guess he was needed to make sure she didn't die.
Right.
So they go back to school, and I just read another line that Amy, as the mom, said that was pretty harrowing that I wrote down. She said that her mom said, I was wasting my youth, so she took it.
Yikes. This is like The Substance in a weird way.
It kind of is.
She's gonna, the mom's living her best life in Amy's young body.
It kind of is. Yeah. This is creepy. So we're at the basketball game.
Right.
And Mom Amy is living her best cheering life because she has taken out all of the other cheerleaders and alternates, and she is the top of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
She's the queen bee.
Mom has got it going on.
And so Giles is carrying Buffy back into the lab with mom's body.
With Amy in the mom's body.
Yeah. And laser on his tweed jacket.
Mm-hmm.
He takes his jacket off and his sleeves are already rolled up. That's how you know it's Ripper. He already had his sleeves rolled up.
And he does this dramatic, he knocks all the empty bottles off the table and lays Buffy down. It's very gallant.
You're trying to tell me Ripper wasn't there in this episode. He was there. So we see that Amy is cheering, but it's kind of in slow-mo. Giles is doing spells in the lab, and as Amy is cheering,
put his hands in acid to do the spell or something, so it's costing him something. It's painful for him to pull this off.
Yeah. And we then see that Amy and her mom start seeing what the other person is seeing.
They're phasing in and out.
Yeah. So Amy and mom's body is it's working. I'm seeing what she's seeing. And Amy ends up falling off the top of the pyramid because she gets, discombobulated.
And then she does the Sidney Prescott run out of the gym.
What is that? What do you mean?
Well, the scene in Scream.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I'm sorry, my traumatized life is interrupting your sex dreams or whatever the fuck the line is. And then she runs out of there real weird. She looks like a Muppet.
Oh my God, I never
Amy does the same. Amy's mom in Amy's body does the same run out of the gym.
Okay, well, she goes to find her mom, and I guess she looks awkward when she runs out of the gym, but for the rest of the time I'm like, ooh.
No, she's the Terminator. She's very scary.
What really significantly scarier than Kool-Aid Mouth.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so she runs into Willow and Xander in the hall.
And Willow takes a book out of Buffy's How to Not Be Stealthy, an autobiography of Buffy Summers.
Tries to stall her by...
And she says, hey, Amy, I can help you. I know where to get a good cauldron. And do you actually ride a broom? And I was like, you know what? Future Witch Willow would be so embarrassed by this entire...
These hurtful stereotypes.
Yeah, so ridiculous.
And then Mom Amy does the dopest thing. She fucking Darth Vader's Xander,
who is trying to come up behind her.
She fucking force chokes him.
Yeah,
and he goes down.
Yeah. And so then she's trying to get into the lab where they are. Can't. So she fucking punches the glass of a axe
in case of emergency.
And starts Jack Torrancing her way into the computer lab.
Here's Amy.
Science lab. Do it again. I stepped on it. Do it again.
Here's Amy.
first one was better. So Buffy's out of commission just before Buffy's about to be hacked up on the table. Giles says, release. Sorry, Ripper says, release. And they do a full switch.
Timing is impeccable.
Yeah. And Amy's like, whoops, sorry, I was about to axe you. She doesn't say that, but she says it in her face. Until Mom in Mom's body now comes and like fucking attacks. She's attacking everybody. Yeah. Tackling everybody. She tackles Giles. He's knocked out. We should probably...
Because watchers, they might know some book learning. They might be able to do a couple spells. But if you just graze them in a fight, they're completely fucking unconscious. But useless in a fight.
And it's the amount of times that Giles gets knocked out in this, like, I'm concerned.
He's got CTE for sure.
1,000%. So now Amy and Mom are fighting, and Buffy is still out of commission. Why is she? Oh, because Mom threw her up against a wall and was like, bye, bitch. But Buffy gets it together, comes up behind Mom and is like, guess what? I feel better. And so now
Which sounds terrible, but it worked in the moment. It
really worked. So now we have Slayer strength and Witch strength fighting each other. And Witch switchy witchy is about to do a spell that sounds very ominous. It's very much like, you can, wherever she's trying to send her is not a place I want to go.
Right.
Buffy uses her surroundings once again and kicks down some sort of mirror so that the spell bounces back.
Yeah, there's like a pole holding up a mirror. Buffy does that Jason Bourne thing where she takes in her environment. There's this awesome kick, kicks the thing, the mirror swings down.
Yeah. And then, so she's poofed away. Mom's poofed. We don't know where she went. And then Giles tries to make us think this was his first casting. And I'm like, Ripper, no, it wasn't. You were far too comfortable rolling up your sleeves for that to have been your first casting. Come on. So crisis averted. Xander doesn't get the memo. He comes in and just grabs a handful of Amy.
He's just all over her. And he's like, she's evil. And
Buffy's like, and you're a pervert.
You don't have to be touching people, guy.
Willow then comes in even later, but with a very useful bat.
Right.
Not a like a bat. You know what I'm saying? And Xander looks like an idiot. So back home, crisis averted. Buffy is throwing away her Hulk smashed alarm clock.
Yes.
Joyce comes in and says, I fucked up. You're inscrutable, which is our favorite word.
Yeah, we say it every episode just about.
I don't think I'm supposed to understand you because I'm not 16. Right. And Buffy says, would you ever want to be 16 again? And Joyce says, not in a million years.
Nope.
No fucking way. I don't know that I'd mind being 16. I would mind being 13. 13 blew for me. That's 7th grade was the closest that I ever experienced to bullying. It was not cool, not fun.
I'd say how I was 33 when I met you. So anything younger than 33, not interested.
Oh, and now you get bullied on a regular basis at home. Loving bully.
Yes.
It's such a loving bullying.
So to wrap things up.
So now Amy is back at school and she's complaining about her dad, who she's now living with, obviously, and definitely learned like, oh, Dad, you're not a deadbeat. Mom was a witch.
Right.
Whoops. And she's like, Dad's making me stay home and eat brownies with him. And Buffy is like, you're loving every second of it, aren't you? And she's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sweet. And I loved Buffy's outfit.
And then Cordy swings in
and
reads these bitches
for filth. And Amy comes back, because we now know that Amy never wanted to be a cheerleader. So she says something, derogatory about cheerleaders. And Cordy's line, which
it's like Cordy starts. It was like, "Hey, sorry you guys are back.
Sorry, you guys suck.
Like you're not on the cheer squad anymore."
And Amy has a retort to which Cordy says, "Oh, these grapes are sour." Absolutely, like reading is fundamental. Drag queen library situation.
Yeah, no, Cordy's so fun. She's such a good character.
And then my third most I'm not making this up. These are 3 specific things that I had nightmares about as a child before watching this episode, and they're all in this. The third one, we're at the trophy case again.
Oh, this. I was gonna say there's like 5 seconds of the episode left. I wonder what this is.
We're at the trophy case again. We're looking at Ketryn the Great's trophy. We don't know where she poofed herself to, except now we do because the eyes of the statue are moving and we just hear the idea of being conscious and stuck in something and unable to communicate it is my worst fucking nightmare. So here's what I'm saying. Okay. If I find myself in a vegetative state, pull the plug.
And here's what I'm saying. If I'm ever in a vegetative state, leave me be.
Really?
Because my luck, you pull the plug and an hour later, all the news like, hey, we found a cure for what Eric had. Let's go. Oh, you just pulled the plug.
But what?
Leave me plugged in. Leave me charging overnight.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Well, maybe I'm having a blast in there. Who knows?
All right. It's fine. I will, I guess. I have other things to do though. I'm not just going to like sit by your bedside. Why didn't say you have to
pedal a bicycle to keep the power going? Just leave me plugged in. That's it.
Okay. But then I can set it and forget it. Got it.
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I can do that.
Let's have a quick meeting of the yearbook committee.
Okay.
Photo editor Joyce Summers presiding.
Yeah.
Who you got for most likely?
Most likely to read a bitch for filth on RuPaul's Drag Race Library Challenge is Cordelia Maleficent Chase.
I love that. Mine is most likely to not learn from history and therefore be doomed to repeat it. Amy. This is not her last go round with the Witchcraft. This should have put her off the whole thing.
Spoilers.
It does not.
Yeah.
All right, who you got for best dressed?
Best dressed was, I do love Buffy's last outfit, like her very last thing that she's wearing, but I'm going to give it to Willow for her first outfit, where I feel like she was like, you know, what,
kind of
Mom,
brown
I got
and white
this.
thing.
Yeah, but it's like got lots of different geometric patterns on it. It's intentional and I loved it and it worked.
Funky, not funky.
Yeah.
Mine is Amy. Well, I think we've mentioned this before. She's in this like little short sleeve cardigan sweater, barrette in her hair, little floral mini dress, cute little sneakers. She just looks great. And she wears that home. So we actually get that outfit for 2 scenes, which is awesome. Yeah. My honorable mention is Cordy in her cheerleader tryout outfit. The stars.
Wow. The star of our eyes. Wow. More like it. Yeah.
Worst dress you got?
Worst dressed was it was Buffy. Yeah, it was Buffy in her magic eye outfit.
Mine is Xander in his blue and orange. It's almost that iconic 90s shirt that all the guys wore with the horizontal stripe and the empire waist, but there's no stripe and there's like weird little crosses on the sleeves. Like it's just
not quite it.
It's not, that needs to go back in the oven for a little bit.
Yeah.
That looks not baked. All right. Yeah. Best line who you got?
Oh, well, I already said it, but God, if I don't love, well, these grapes are sour. I think I'm going to start using that on you when you've got some attitude.
Yeah. Well, keep that one chambered. It's going to come up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My best line is when Amy's describing how much she her mom makes her practice cheerleading with her. Buffy says, quality time with my mom would probably lead to quality matricide. I thought it was such a funny line. Such a
good line.
A Buffy line. It's again, I think that really you see early on that signature dialogue is already present in this show. Who's your worst line?
Oh God, it's so unfortunate. So the first time they're at the trophy case and Amy is describing that her mom was Ketryn the Great, Buffy says, Get down with your bad self.
Like someone's 70-year-old aunt trying to sound hip.
I cringed into oblivion. I imploded. It was so embarrassing.
My worst line was Buffy attempting to sing Macho Man.
Yoinks.
Not great.
Yeah.
All right. And I think for best move, we both have the same one, right?
The
Kicking
mirror.
that pole with the mirror.
Yeah.
That was the move.
Dope. It was great.
All right. I guess it's time to wrap this up. Go check out our other show, Kim and Ket Stay Alive Maybe, co-starring her and her friend Kim Burns. Every week they try and survive horror movies.
And produced by this guy.
I produced that show, wrote the theme song. They're at KK Sam Podcast on all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to follow this show on social media, we're at Major Slayage Pod. We've also just launched a Patreon, but this episode's already long, so we'll talk about that next time. But patreon.com/Major Slayage if you want to see what we have to offer. Everything's $5. There's no tiers. We're not doing plans. You just $5. You get everything we offer, and we think there's a lot of fun stuff there.
Yep. I think that's it.
That's all we got. So
I have to sneeze.
That's all we got. We will see you next Monday for episode 4. Until then, dust you later.
I like it. Cool. Bye.